Was that gatekeeping in sports, in entertainment, or just...
This is not my project.
Yeah.
Like, the Big Three is not a project. It's a league for everybody.
Famed for his prowess in both music and lyricism, Ice Cube has recently taken a bold step by expressing his strong dissatisfaction with the premier basketball league on a global scale. The iconic rapper has candidly shared his concerns about the N.B.A., revealing startling revelations that shed light on underlying issues within the league. Expressing frustration, Ice Cube voiced his concerns regarding what he perceives as the N.B.A.'s reluctance to embrace his own basketball venture, the Big Three. Launched by the iconic rapper in 2017, the Big Three introduces a unique twist to traditional basketball with its 3-on-3 team format. Ice Cube envisioned his league as a complementary addition to the basketball landscape rather than a direct competitor to the N.B.A. Despite this intention, he alleges that both mainstream sports media and the N.B.A. itself have largely overlooked the efforts of the Big Three.
Didn't like the fact that we were starting the league. We had a meeting. It was cordial, but it got a little...
Ice Cube recently engaged in a candid conversation on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast where, right from the outset, the former N.W.A. member did not hold back in criticizing the N.B.A. and sharing his grievances. The award-winning rapper started out by claiming that the mainstream media and sponsors have been ignoring his basketball ventures. Quote, "I have been trying to push the league and mainstream sports media have been basically ignored what we have been doing. I think they are nervous with N.B.A. It would be damaged if they promote the Big Three." Further, Ice Cube also claimed that he in no way intended his venture to be a direct competitor for the N.B.A. Moreover, there are many former N.B.A. players willingly joining his league. Quote, "What's crazy is that we got their former Hall of Famers as part of this league, so it's not like we hijacking them. We are not trying to compete in any way, shape, or form with the N.B.A. According to Joe Rogan's recent guest, it's not the players or the coaches in the N.B.A. that have a problem with his league. Rather, it's the top management. Quote, "It's not the players, it's not the owners, it's not the GMs and scouts, it's not the culture, it's just the suits. It's the corporate people." In a tweet, Ice Cube shared a video clip of him criticizing the N.B.A. on the Joe Rogan podcast. Moreover, he captioned it, quote, "The league the N.B.A. loves to hate. Welcome to the F the Gatekeepers podcast tour. First stop at Joe Rogan. Guess who's next?" For months, legendary rapper and Big Three co-founder Ice Cube has been asserting that the N.B.A. is actively working against his 3-on-3 basketball league, aiming to hinder its growth, impede advertising opportunities, and potentially eliminate it altogether. Recent reports from TMZ Sports suggest that the United States Department of Justice has initiated an official investigation to ascertain whether the National Basketball Association engaged in antitrust violations.
It was cordial, but it got a little, contentious in the middle and at the end.
Ice Cube discussed his concerns with Panama Jackson during the summer months as the Big Three's 6th season was underway. As news of the DOJ's inquiry gains traction, we rewind to a previous Dear Culture moment to shed light on the ongoing controversy.
If a guy can't go 82 games, a guy can't play 3 games in 4 nights, that doesn't mean he can't play basketball.
According to Cube, the N.B.A. has purportedly sought to influence potential sponsors and broadcast networks against partnering with his league, emphasizing that Big Three is intended to be complementary rather than competitive. "We're not trying to compete in any shape or form with the N.B.A. We're very complementary," he emphasized, "so I don't understand the things that's being done behind the scenes. Encouraging people not to sponsor us, encouraging networks not to play us." Cube expressed the necessity for his growing basketball league launched in 2017 to resist the N.B.A.'s alleged campaign for it to survive and thrive in the future. Despite managing to survive, he finds the situation redundant and ridiculous, prompting a determination to fight back. In an ongoing media tour, Ice Cube plans to visit major outlets to expose the gatekeepers in the basketball world. His mission involves reaching out to diverse platforms, regardless of potential disagreement, to convey his perspective. One of his fans wrote, quote, "The NBA is very terrified of the Big Three because it's not as popular, but is gaining that popularity real quick." Another one added, quote, "As a fan of the Big Three, you have to be honest. It was okay when the Big Three was just a small and fun, but the NBA is not going to let them be competitors because that's money at stake, that's business. One more person added, "Proud of what you're doing, Cube. I really hope it goes far and soon to NBA level and past them." Moreover, he has reportedly emphasized to the players of the NBA how they were ruined. One big example given by him was of Jayson Williams. Former New Jersey Nets All-Star Jayson Williams was born on February 22, 1968 in New York City, but his early years were marked with a move to Ritter, South Carolina along with his family. Raised in a biracial household with an African-American father and a white mother, Williams had 2 sisters and a brother. While Williams has described his parents as loving, the complexities of his family history would later play a role in shaping his life. One notable aspect of his childhood was the traumatic experience of witnessing his father shoot 3 different people. Fortunately, none of the victims lost their lives, but one was struck in the leg. Williams recounted that the shooting incident occurred when, as a child, a man broke a pool cue over his father's back. In retaliation, his father resorted to violence by shooting the man in the leg. Apparently, no legal troubles came from this because, as Williams said, in the rural South, 50 years ago, you took care of business that way, you took care of business. Talking about his professional life, he had faced numerous difficulties at that time. On the fateful night of February 14, 2002, the course of 2 lives took a tragic turn. Jayson Williams, a former NBA player, was enjoying an evening with his family and a travel team he was associated with, watching a Harlem Globetrotters game. After the game, they headed to a restaurant for dinner, and Williams extended an invitation for the players from the travel team to join him at his home. The restaurant owner kindly arranged for a limousine service to pick up the players and take them to Williams' residence. Unbeknownst to anyone, this decision would have far-reaching consequences. The limo driver, Costas Guff Christofi, followed Williams, who was driving his car back to the former NBA player's home. Back at the house, Williams, under the influence of A, was displaying his gun collection to his guests. While handling a shotgun and showcasing it, a tragic accident occurred. The gun discharged and the bullet struck Christofi in the chest, resulting in his instant death. In a bizarre turn of events, Williams, overwhelmed by shock or pain, stripped naked and ran to his swimming pool, presumably to wash off any blood that may have gotten on him.
So what happened with me once I lost my structure came destruction.
Upon emerging from the pool, Williams wiped the shotgun stock and placed it in Christofi's hands in an attempt to create the appearance of a suicide. Williams' adopted brother then called 911 and reported the shooting as a suicide. When the police arrived, they took Williams in for questioning. Subsequent investigations revealed that Williams had a blood A level exceeding .10, classifying him as intoxicated under New Jersey law. Following an autopsy and Williams' arrest, he was released on $250,000 bail, marking the beginning of a legal ordeal that would unfold in the aftermath of that tragic Valentine's Day night. In an interview with Sports Illustrated's John Wortham, Williams had this to say about the terrible incident. Quote, "There is nothing I can do or say to bring Mr. Christofi back. If there was, I would do it. Terrible accident, and the way I acted after the accident was being a coward. That bothers me. The cover-up was selfishness, me trying to protect myself." The legal proceedings extended over 8 years before a resolution was reached, ultimately resulting in Williams being acquitted of aggravated manslaughter. However, he was found guilty on 4 counts related to the concealment of the shooting. On January 11, 2010, Williams entered a plea of guilty to aggravated A. Consequently, he was sentenced to 5 years in prison, serving 27 months before gaining release in April 2012. At his sentencing hearing, Williams apologized to Christofi's family and said, quote, "There's not a day I wake up and I don't feel sorry for what I did to Mr. Christofi." Prior to his eventual conviction in the accidental shooting case, Williams encountered legal issues on multiple occasions. On April 27, 2009, a female friend of his contacted the police expressing concern about Williams' behavior. Upon the police's arrival, Williams, appearing intoxicated and agitated, resisted hospitalization and was subsequently tasered by law enforcement. Upon taking him to the hospital, the police discovered empty prescription D bottles and several suicide notes. Nearly a month later, Williams was involved in a bar altercation in Raleigh, North Carolina, where he allegedly A'd a man. Although initially charged with simple A, the charges were later dropped.
Your use of alcohol has gotten you into a lot of trouble. Obviously, alcohol and guns don't mix. That's gotten you where you are today.
On January 5, 2010, Williams drove under the influence, resulting in a collision with a tree. This incident led to an additional year of jail time being added to his sentence for the accidental shooting. Following his release from prison, Williams grappled with severe A, prompting him to enter a rehabilitation center. Despite spending 30 days in rehab, Williams never completed the program. Quote, "I've quit trying to protect myself. I just try to live right and let the pieces fall where they may," Williams said about his A. Quote, "That's my only job, to be sober. I don't know what happened yesterday. I know I was sober. I damn sure don't know what's going to happen tomorrow." And the list is long. The other one who faced a fall down while being in the NBA is Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas stands as one of the greatest players in NBA history, but his career as an executive is marred by forgettable episodes, serving as the Toronto Raptors executive vice president from 94 to 98 and later as the president of basketball operations for the New York Knicks from 2003 to 2008. Thomas faced significant challenges.
We had the same team in the lineup, in the game, that pressed us and trapped us and cut a 25-point lead down to 10 in about 2 minutes.
His tenure with the Knicks was overshadowed by an alleged SH controversy. In 2006, former executive Anucha Brown Sanders filed a lawsuit against the Madison Square Garden company claiming that she was terminated for raising complaints about Thomas, who was accused of SAing her. According to the New York Daily News, the case reached a settlement with Anucha Brown Sanders being awarded $11.6 million in damages.
The New York jury has called a major foul on Knicks coach and president Isaiah Thomas. Tuesday, jurors ruled that Thomas asked a former female top team executive.
Despite the financial resolution, this period was deeply embarrassing for both the New York Knicks and Isaiah Thomas, who had faced criticism from fans for his management of the team since assuming the role of president in 2003. The incident shed light on various issues within the Knicks organization during the investigation and trial. Among them were allegations of nepotism involving the hiring of Stephen Marbury's relatives as Madison Square Garden employees, as well as reports of Thomas using profanities frequently in the workplace.
They said Anucha Brown Sanders was subjected to unwanted advances and verbal insults, but the panel ruled that Thomas does not have to pay Brown Sanders punitive damages.
Despite the controversy, Thomas maintained his innocence not only during the trial, but also in subsequent years. In 2015, he was appointed team president and part owner of the New York Liberty. He held this position until 2019 when Joe Tsai acquired the Liberty from Madison Square Garden. Throughout his tenure, Thomas continued to assert his innocence despite the challenges and controversies that had surrounded him.
I am innocent. I'm very innocent, and I did not do the things that she accused me in this courtroom of doing.
However, on May 5, 2015, MSG named Isaiah Thomas the president of the New York Liberty, a basketball team also owned by MSG who compete in the Women's National Basketball Association. That same day when people objected to a SH being put in charge of a women's basketball team, MSG released a statement saying, among other things, "We did not believe the allegations then, and we don't believe them now." End quote. Isaiah Thomas went on ESPN's Mike and Mike show and was posed with the question, quote, "How should fans of the New York Liberty reconcile your position with that team and the SH history of you back in your days with the Knicks?" When the jury had an opportunity to find, Thomas began, quote, "They fined Madison Square Garden. I was not liable or personally held for anything. The jury found no findings. Anyone who's vetted this," he went on, "has looked at it, has come out and found that, as the jury found, that there were no findings in terms of Isaiah Thomas." In the light of these allegations, Matt Ishiba was officially confirmed as the Phoenix Suns' new majority owner. It's worth noting that Thomas has faced challenges in his executive career, notably his tenure with the New York Knicks, which included the controversy surrounding a SH lawsuit. Despite his past, Thomas was linked to Ishiba based on their friendship, raising questions about the potential involvement of Thomas in the Suns front office. He and I are very close, and he's also the one who advised me in the business space. I've called on him quite frequently in the past to help me navigate some of our growing pains and likewise. So we have shared evidence with each other. We've become very good friends. Then comes Kevin Porter and his long list of allegations, which people believe was just a move to make him out of the NBA. Kevin Porter Jr. has become a focal point of discussion in the NBA, but unfortunately for all the wrong reasons. Allegations have surfaced accusing Porter Jr. of A-ing his girlfriend, WNBA player Kaiser Gondrezick, resulting in severe injuries. Gondrezick reportedly sustained a facial cut and a fractured vertebrae in her neck, believed to be the result of a choking incident involving Porter Jr.
The N.B.A. and the Houston Rockets are investigating this morning after guard Kevin Porter was arrested accused of assaulting his girlfriend in New York.
Adding to the distressing nature of the situation, it is claimed that Porter Jr. continued to physically harm Gondrezick until she was covered in blood. Shockingly, this incident appears to be a part of a pattern, suggesting a troubling history of domestic violence involving Porter Jr. and Gondrezick. Quote, Assistant Manhattan District Attorney Myra Kurzer says Porter has a history of abusing Gondrezick, including an incident in which he rammed his car into hers. Wrote ABC Houston. Porter Jr. is now facing formal charges of and strangulation, having been released on $75,000 bail. Despite the charges, he has entered a plea of not guilty. The N.B.A. has initiated an investigation into the incident with potential disciplinary measures pending the completion of the inquiry. N.B.A. Commissioner Adam Silver has addressed the issue, acknowledging the gravity of the allegations while expressing limited knowledge of the actual facts. Quote, yes, the allegations here are horrific, Silver said, no question about it. But I don't know any more about the actual facts other than reading those allegations. This disturbing incident adds to a troubling pattern in Porter Jr.'s history, making yet another instance where he has found himself entangled with both the N.B.A. and the legal system. His recurrent involvement in such situations raises concerns about his conduct both on and off the court. Prior to making his N.B.A. debut, Porter Jr. had already encountered disciplinary issues. During his freshman year at USC, he faced a one-game suspension for unspecified misconduct issues. The details of the incident were never disclosed, being categorized as an undisclosed altercation with the management. This early suspension hinted at a pattern that would continue to manifest itself in Porter Jr.'s future, marked by several incidents within team environments.
Sixers turn the Rockets back over. Kevin Porter Jr. with a hard foul.
After serving his one-game suspension, Porter Jr. resumed playing with the team. However, his collegiate journey was punctuated by such incidents. Several months later, he made the decision to declare for the 2019 NBA draft, transitioning to the professional league. The first legal incident involving Porter Jr. occurred in August 2020 when he was a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers, preparing for his second NBA season. During the summer season preceding the 2020-21 season, Porter Jr. faced accusations of physically A-ing a woman by punching her in the face and pulling her hair. Law enforcement investigated the incident, ultimately choosing not to file charges against Porter Jr. Nonetheless, it added another negative chapter to the young NBA player's off-court experiences.
Porter was arrested, accused of beating up his girlfriend at a New York City hotel last month.
As questions arose about Porter Jr.'s ability to steer clear of trouble and focus on his basketball career, he unfortunately found himself in yet another troubling situation just a few months after the alleged incident. Porter Jr.'s respite from trouble lasted only 3 months, as he faced arrest in November 2020 following a car accident. When police arrived at the scene, they discovered a loaded gun and a small amount of M. Additionally, Porter Jr. was charged with driving without a license. The Cavaliers, his team at the time, responded to the mounting drama by opting not to include him in their game lineup.
Yeah, the league's launched an investigation, Malika, and they'll handle it in the near term. I think the Houston Rockets, and just by the bylaws, they can't suspend him.
Although all charges were later dropped against Porter Jr., this episode contributed to the growing list of concerning behaviors associated with him. The question lingered: would Porter Jr.'s situation improve, or would he continue to be entangled in a pattern of troublesome incidents? Unfortunately, Porter Jr.'s challenges persisted, and the next issue, while not involving any illegal activity, became a team-related problem. Following the acquisition of Taurean Prince by the Cavs, general manager Koby Altman assigned Prince to Porter Jr.'s locker. This decision did not sit well with Porter Jr., who reportedly expressed his displeasure by throwing food at Altman while shouting at him. Sources said Porter, whose locker was moved to the wall where the younger end-of-bench players reside, began yelling and at one point threw food, per The Athletic. Sources said general manager Koby Altman came into the locker room and confronted Porter, and the player remained combative with his boss. The Cavs spent the weekend trying to trade him. Coach J.B. Bickerstaff heard the commotion in the locker room from his office and came in, shocked and disgusted by what he heard. Following the locker room incident, the Cavs decided to trade Porter to the Houston Rockets on January 21, 2021, just 3 days after the altercation with general manager Koby Altman. Hoping for a fresh start with a new team, Porter Jr. unfortunately found himself in another troubling situation, marking his first incident with the Rockets. In a recent and as yet undated event, the Rockets organized a team gathering at a local club. During the gathering, Porter Jr. reportedly engaged in a heated argument with the DJ and, in a fit of anger, damaged the DJ's laptop. This bizarre and seemingly disproportionate reaction to a disagreement highlights ongoing concerns about Porter Jr.'s anger management issues.
Kevin Porter Jr.'s first year and a half in the NBA in Cleveland didn't at all go as he planned. He got suspended early on in his rookie year for bumping into a ref.
Team events like this are intended to foster camaraderie and unity among players, contributing to their growth both on and off the court. However, Porter Jr.'s actions had the opposite effect, undermining the team-building purpose of such gatherings. The repeated pattern of disruptive behavior may shed light on why the Cavs were eager to part ways with him. The question remains, what motivated Porter Jr. to destroy a DJ's laptop in this latest incident? They were out at a club apparently, and there was a disagreement, I guess, with the DJ in the club, and KPJ took the laptop of said DJ and smashed it on the floor. Just completely destroyed it and started tearing the place up, and the Rockets, they immediately got him out of there. Houston Rockets reporter Jackson Gatlin said, Porter Jr.'s problems were starting to get out of hand at this point. When a player continues to act out, it's a sign of immaturity. In 2021, Porter Jr. was only 21 years old, so maybe he'll grow out of this phase, right? The onset of the COVID-19 pandemic brought significant changes to various aspects of life, including the N.B.A., which implemented rules to curb the virus's spread. However, in April 2021, Kevin Porter Jr. demonstrated a disregard for these protocols, signaling that he had not outgrown his immature phase. Despite the NBA's prohibition on players attending clubs, Porter Jr., then with the Houston Rockets, went to a strip club in Miami. This decision resulted in a $50,000 fine for violating the league's pandemic health and safety rules, which restricted players from being indoors with a gathering of 15 or more, a rule the strip club clearly violated.
And while some still held on to hope because of his insane potential, a lot more wrote him off, but when he finally returned to the court in the 2020-21 season, he showed out.
While the fine alone was a setback, it further damaged Porter Jr.'s already fragile reputation. The Rockets, who were already dealing with locker room drama, faced another incident during a game against the Denver Nuggets on January 1st, 2022. In that game, which the Rockets lost 124-111, Porter Jr. refused to play in the second half. Initially benched along with Christian Wood for missing the team's mandatory COVID-19 testing window, Porter Jr. and Wood were criticized by assistant coach John Lucas at halftime for their performance and effort level. This led to a heated argument during which Porter Jr. allegedly threw an object at Lucas, resulting in a physical altercation that required separation. Following the incident, Porter Jr. left the arena, while Wood refused to enter the game in the second half.
And that he's continued to do, averaging 26-7-7 in his last 10 games dating back to last season.
Such behavior, including leaving the arena and refusing to play, is perplexing for a professional athlete and raises concerns about Porter Jr.'s attitude. The accumulation of incidents prompted questions about whether having him on the roster was worth the drama. Despite his undeniable talent, the ongoing disruption Porter Jr. brought into the locker room led some to contemplate whether parting ways, as the Cavs did previously, might be the best solution for the Rockets.
And then when he found out the Cavs gave his old locker to Taurean Prince while he was gone, threw a food-throwing tantrum and was then quickly traded to Houston for next to nothing.
The most recent incident involving Porter Jr. and his A on Kaiser Gondrzic has brought his troubled history into the national spotlight, marking the gravest of his issues to date. As more details emerge in the coming days, the severity of this terrible situation will become clearer, shedding light on the legal consequences Porter Jr. may face. The NBA is also set to make decisions regarding Porter Jr.'s future in the league. Given the extent of his past transgressions, the league may contemplate severe actions against him. The possibility of Porter Jr. being ousted from the NBA is a real concern, considering the cumulative impact of his troubled history on and off the court.
You have not guaranteed money on the back end of it. But because of his past history, and this history is quite long.
Presently, the Rockets are unable to waive Porter Jr. due to league rules. According to a recent report by ESPN, the league has initiated an investigation, and until its conclusion, the Rockets cannot suspend or release him. However, there exists the option for NBA Commissioner Adam Silver to place Porter Jr. on administrative leave amid the ongoing investigation. There's no question that Kevin Porter Jr.'s future, not just with the Rockets but in the NBA, is very much in peril. These are extremely serious allegations. There is substantial evidence indicating that Kevin's future in the NBA has been significantly compromised. Additionally, according to Ice Cube, it appears that the NBA has purportedly detrimentally impacted the careers of numerous individuals who were once on the path to success. This assertion is further substantiated by an extensive and ongoing list of NBA players whose careers have allegedly been adversely affected.